So today we're going to be building a camera rig. As you guys can tell, I'm really sick. Recently, I decided to invest a little money into a little bit of a rig just to have the option in case I do end up working for a commercial client. I don't necessarily use it at weddings, but I just want to give people the option. I'll explain what I bought first and then we'll put it together. You know, there's a lot of great full cages. I would recommend getting a full cage if you're going to rig your camera out. I have a half cage as well for my other cameras, but I'm using a full cage for this build right here. First thing I bought was a Small Rig 99 V-mount battery. This thing's awesome. I love that it has like the menu system and you can see stuff on it and it gives information, you know, about how much battery's left. It feels nice and solid, but it's honestly not too heavy, so it's pretty good. The next thing I did get, which I kind of already put on here, was the Small Rig V-mount battery plate. I looked at a lot of different V-mount battery plates and I found this one in terms of just kind of quality and just how it works. I like the way that it folds, and then it does accept Arca Swiss that you can put in here. And yeah, you'll see how it goes on a bit later, but I just love the form factor of this one, especially with the V-mount battery, so it's awesome. Next thing I want to talk about is this little thing right here. This is the SSD card reader, so essentially you put the memory card in this little thing right here. So those will go together, you'll see in a bit. Next thing I want to talk about is a side handle. So you could get a side handle that legit just like screws into the side of your cage. But I ended up going with the NATO rail because then it just kind of like, you can unlock it and lock it and it kind of just like clips onto the rail. And then you just bring it down, there's a little pop there and then boom, it's on. And it's really on there, it's really snug. I like the fact that it's more grippy, nice finish to it where it's not all metal because you don't want to be outside and then have to be holding a metal grip because that would get really cold. And then that way when you do hold your camera, you got nice grip on here, nice grip on here, and you're not holding too much metal. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put on the V-mount battery, put it onto the Arca Swiss mount, and then there's two locks. There's one on the front here, and then there's one on the back. And there's a nice padding between the plate and your camera, so it's not like scratching your camera. That would be annoying. So yeah, then you take the V-mount battery and just plop it in, and that's pretty much it. So I'm not a big fan of camera monitors, but I think if you're building a rig, I think it makes the most sense to have a camera monitor. The monitor you buy, that's one thing, but then the next thing you would buy is the mount that goes to the monitor. I could have bought a lot of different versions of this one, but I found when it came to price, quality, and build, newer one, NATO rail one I think is really good for the price. And honestly, like in terms of like build quality, everything else I'm putting on for the most part is Small Rig. I ended up not going for the Small Rig mount adapter for the monitor because I found it was way too expensive for what it was. So I went for this one and honestly I'm happy with it. So we're gonna put this on with the camera monitor here. I'm using a NPF 70 MPF battery from Sony here. Sony MPF battery. I can't remember what they're called anymore, but I'll leave them in the description. But I'm using that to pretty much power the camera monitor by itself. So I chose this monitor in particular because of its size. A lot of the other monitors I found were just kind of like too big for my shooting style. I'm very run and gun. I like being able to be on the go, on the fly. So that's why I chose this camera monitor, just for its size. You can also pretty much load in a LUT into this monitor, so you can see, like you could convert your footage from log to Rec 709 in this monitor as well. So because I shoot Panasonic, it doesn't make a whole big difference for me. I can do that technically in my camera, but having the ability to do that on this monitor is great as well. But it's like the size, I think it's almost like damn it, my phone's over there so I can't do it, but it's almost like the size of my phone. So that's why I chose this monitor, and this whole setup is just like super light. So if I did go to a wedding and I wanted to bring this, I could. I'm personally not going to do that, but just to have a camera, just to have this option. And I'm gonna put this all the way off to the side there. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take the SSD mount thing that I was talking about earlier. The only issue I'm having right now is that I did not think about how I want to connect my V-mount battery to power the camera, because as of right now, I'm actually using the HDMI cord for my monitor, and then I'm using the USB-C to power the SSD. Okay, so I'm here with my buddy Benji from Benji Creative Studios, and I pretty much like midway through the video I was recording, I realized that I didn't think everything through. And guys, if you're gonna do YouTube, this is why you script your videos and don't freestyle it, because I pretty much had my whole build here and I'm just like, I got this figured out. And no, I don't. So I wanted to be authentic here and say, I didn't think this part through, but I do have the solution. I did a quick little bit of research. So how you power your SSD, you throw that in USB-C, you do want that going directly to your camera. And then in terms of powering the camera, the way you're gonna do that is you're gonna use the V-mount battery, but you're gonna go this little door here, it's a D-tap. It's a D-tap, that's the cord. I'll get the cord. It's a D-tap, and you go D-tap to BLK22. That's pretty much what the Panasonic battery is. So you pretty much get this little attachment that looks like a Panasonic battery, but it's a dummy battery, and it goes in the bottom of your camera. So, and if you look at the bottom, and I only just noticed this now too, because Panasonic's awesome like that, there's a little rubber gasket thing that you pull back, and then it makes a little hole here. So that's pretty much what you use for the cord to go in, and then that way you can use your dummy battery. And yeah, you learn something new every day, guys. Someone's gonna come for me in the comments, I know it, but it's okay, that's fine. Look at how small this is. Very small, very compact. I feel like I could run around with this all day. It actually feels nice. Okay, so another thing you could do too, and I'm only realizing this now as I'm putting it together, is that instead of putting the SSD thing here, you could put it on this handle. The handle actually has a whole spot here, and then you could do it like that too. And then that way it's not interfering with your screen here. And so if you want to bend the screen down more, you can. And that's the cool thing, man, about this, is that there's no like right or wrong, there could be a right and wrong way to do this, but you can kind of set it up how you want to set it up. And this is pretty much how I set it up. So let's play devil's advocate and remove the V-mount battery, because if I do remove the V-mount battery, imagine this, okay? Now we got an even smaller camera rig here. Still looks very powerful, still looks big. And then boom. And then another thing too, instead of me just holding it all crazy, I have a Peak Design anchor system installed as well. So I can even throw it on a camera strap. So this is the Peak Design leash. It's not meant for like super heavy cameras. There's a slide light, and then there's one, just the original Peak Design strap. Those would be way better. It's a lot thicker and meant for something big. All right, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about my rig. If you got a better suggestion, throw it in the comments. Let's have a discussion about it. Take care, guys. This is Damien.